Oh, thank you for auditing the always positive new music review show hosted by a French professor who once again gets to talk about maybe his favorite rapper, Mach-Hommy, and his new album with Haggad Fahim, Dollar Menu 4. As you may or may not know, my wife gave birth last week, and so I have a 7-day-old daughter, and basically all she's listened to her entire life is that new Rock Marciano album and this Makami album. It's quite a week for hip-hop. And I will say, I think she prefers Makami. A couple times I've listened to this album with her when she's been fussy, and she's kind of calmed down. So there you go. Maybe a good hawk mommy. And what I want to do is I want to jump right into the review. Usually I give some kind of preamble that serves as a framing device for how I'm going to review the album I'm talking about, but I'm going to do that with a review of the first song, because I think this really lays out the template for how to consider this project in particular, and perhaps the entire Dollar Menu series in the whole. It's called Gastronomy, which is a French word translated into English as gastronomy. Now, the French definition, which I found in the Treasure of the French Language, it's this French dictionary you can find online, calls it l'art de la bonne chère, which basically means like the art of a good feast. In English, we often think about it as studying the relationship between culture and food, the science of eating well. And this all makes sense when you think of this project and how they began it. They began this entire project with a quote from a movie. I think this is probably the only underground hip-hop album that features Patton Oswalt talking to David Schwimmer from the movie Ratatouille. I've got to teach you about food. There's actually a class that I teach where I teach them about how French people eat food and how French people enjoy food, and I show them this very scene from Ratatouille, the synesthesia scene, where the rat played by David Schwimmer has to learn to enjoy food on a deeper level. So that's how the entire album starts. The entire album ends with a different movie quote. I haven't eaten like this in years. And I'm going to describe that one much later when I get to the end of the review. But this opening quote really sets up the entire album because it tells you what Makami is trying to do. And Haggad Fahim. And their producers. What producers? I don't know. It's not listed. I'm pretty sure Sadhu Gold's on there a bunch, and I swear there's some Craven in there, but I can't quite figure out who's producing this all. You know how I talk about the current underground hip-hop scene. There's just a whole bunch of producers chained to radiators in some basement somewhere in New York. We need another beat. So when it starts off with this quote, I have to teach you about food, this project is trying to teach us about food. Food as music. There's a whole series of metaphors about food, and the thing that we have to do is not just eat like a rat. We have to enjoy, we have to respect the relationship between food and culture, the science of good eating, l'art de la bonne chère. We have to be like Remy, the Patton Oswalt rat from Ratatouille. But it goes beyond that, because by calling this Dollar Menu, and by constantly referring to themselves as dump gods and people who just dump music on you and just constantly make music, they're also simultaneously devaluing their art. They're making it clear that this is something that is made quickly and is to be consumed quickly. So they're sort of having it both ways, right? Where they're simultaneously providing something to be appreciated and providing something to be consumed rapidly. With the opening lines of the entire song being the god Fahim saying, "It's the god! Another menu, and you are on it." So in the final way that this food metaphor goes is that we are being eaten. And by we, I don't think they mean us. I don't think they mean the hip-hop connoisseurs, hip-hop gastronomy fans, but I think it means other rappers, other artists that they are going to be eaten. So at the same time, these rappers and these producers are making the highest class food, the lowest class food, and they are eating different food, all wrapped up. So this kind of dollar menu idea, it sounds like it's kind of funny and it's kind of cute, but it's actually, I think, much deeper than that. So this track is a good example of the production all the way through. These cool kind of low oboes, I think, are forming the beat. Do, do do do. Then some like Western guitars, and then like a scritchy, scratchy guitar. And there's no drums in the beginning, just some bells. There will be drums later, but I'm not at that point yet. First, we have to start with the God Fahim verse. Now, if you've been watching my Makami reviews, you know I have an interesting relationship with the God Fahim. I figured it out. I have a love-hate relationship. I love his rapping style. I love his cadence. I love every single thing about him. Except when I hear his voice, I'm usually waiting to hear Mach-Hommy. Okay? It's like going to a concert, and the opening act is fine, is great, is maybe even wonderful, is maybe even the better band. But like when I'm listening to Mach-Hommy, I want to hear that Mach-Hommy voice. Like I want to be in his mysterious world of syllables and words that I can't always parse. I want to be in his crazy references. I want to be there. Now, I don't think that makes these projects worse. Probably even better. The kind of restraint that we have. You know, the kind of like build-up that I get looking forward to listening to Makami by listening to the God Fahim. It's sort of a funny thing because in some ways I feel like I have to tolerate the God Fahim. But then when I listen to it a second, third, fourth time, sometimes I even end up liking the God Fahim's verses better than Makami's verses. So it's a very interesting sort of back and forth. And it's unlike other rap duos. You know, it's not like when I listen to Ghostface Killah and Raekwon. I mean, I prefer Ghostface, but it doesn't have that same feeling of just, to quote Milhouse, when are they going to get to the fireworks factory? You know, like that's how I feel. Like I just want to get to Mach. But I am going to quote some of the God Fahim's lines here, how he opens up the track. I think it's a good example of his wordplay. I mistakenly read the Pitchfork review of this album. Every once in a while I'll do that, you know, just kind of see what they're up to. And they were criticizing the God Fahim for rapping about being a good rap artist. But it's like, hey, Pitchfork, like, that's what a lot of good rappers do. Like, that's just a thing that rappers can do. You know? I mean, okay, if he was rapping about the material conditions that he had to live under growing up in Atlanta and somehow... How is that dude from Atlanta, by the way? How is he not from New York? He's like the most New York-sounding rap artist I've ever heard, and he's from Atlanta. I don't understand it. But, you know, like would they be happier if he was singing about crack, or if he was singing about sex, or if he was singing about justice and social justice? To me, I'm perfectly happy listening to rappers rapping about why they're good at rap. That's probably my favorite topic. That's, frankly, the most enduring topic, I would say, across the entire history of hip-hop. The one thing that connects from, you know, the Cold Crush Brothers to the Migos, just talking about what a great rapper you are. So I'm not really with that criticism. When we move, it's similar to tectonic plates. It's a fine line between criticisms and trying to hate. I grind 25/8. I never hibernate. Don't violate, 'cause loose ends I consolidate. So, you know, it's nice. Like the idea of not 24/7, 25/8. That's clever. Rhyming with trying to hate and tectonic plates and hibernate. Lots of good 8 sounds there. He's such a talented rapper that I like, that it's so funny that so much of the time that I listen to him, I'm annoyed. But maybe that's just me. And every time I say this, I want to say this right out loud. Every time I say this, I get so many God Fahim fans who just tell me that I'm a buster. So feel free to call me a buster in the comments. You know, like I'm mad at me because I like the God Fahim enough that I want to tell me to shut up. Like I listened to that project he did with Nicholas Craven, those 2 projects he did, and it's awesome. Like, I really should have reviewed those. Like, that's like some of the best stuff I've ever heard. But if I knew that at the end of it, Mach was coming... And then drums come in halfway through this verse, which is quite nice. I like the drumless sound, but I especially like the drumless sound when it goes away and we get some drums. I kick flip my ish on stage and break a fibula. So is he saying that, like, he is breaking his fibula? Is he, like, bragging about that? Okay. Then Makami comes on. We're finally at the fireworks factory. And it's just one of my favorite things. The fact that he doesn't have his lyrics online is such a gift. You know, we live in this time where we can get everything and we can know everything. nothing is mysterious to us. Like, when I was growing up, before the internet, my brothers were just huge Rolling Stones fans. And one time, one of them found a Rolling Stones lyrics book, and they didn't buy it. And then ever since then, they put out like an all-points bulletin, like, find the Rolling Stones lyrics book. You need to buy it, because even though we listened to the albums over and 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 over again, we still didn't know the lyrics to Sway. Okay? And now everything's found and everything's there. Everything's on Genius. Everything's on Lyrics Translate. Everything's all there on the official site. You can look everything up. The success that Mach-Hommy has in keeping himself mysterious, in keeping who he is, what he does, how he says mysterious, is a real testament to like an artistic project. It's like an artistic project which he has successfully executed, of just not knowing. So I figured it out, though, Mr. Hommy. I figured out your opening line. This is great. Okay. It was Chris Small drops milligram. Okay, that's what I heard. It is Chris Small drops milligram. All right, that's how clear it was to me the first time I heard it. It was Chris Small drops milligram. Listen to it over and over and over and over and over again. You see, the way he rhymes on some of this album, not all this album, because he has so many different flows, so many different approaches to the beat. This song is almost faster than the beat. Like, not even Spitfire. It's almost like he's not even listening to the music. This is Chris Smalls dropping science on Lindsey Graham. So I'm like, is this like Christopher Wallace and Biggie Smalls? Is he talking about Notorious B.I.G.? Is that what this is? Is this some kind of mix-up like that? And does he mean like Lindsey Graham, like the corrupt senator guy, the super Republican evil dude? Sorry, my political bias is showing. I don't think there's a lot of fans of Lindsey Graham who watch this channel. If there are, I'm sorry to say, I'm not a fan of Lindsey Graham. We can agree on many things, but not about that. And so I looked it up and realized Chris Smalls is the guy who spoke about Amazon unions in front of the Senate, like fighting against the unjust work practices, labor practices of Amazon, like with the help, I believe, of Bernie Sanders, against Lindsey Graham. And beyond that, Chris Smalls is like, when you think of somebody going to Congress and fighting on behalf of labor, I have a very specific image of sort of like a portly 50-year-old white dude with a lunch pail and all that. No, Chris Smalls is a young black guy from New Jersey. And I just went down a rabbit hole, like realizing like this guy is like my new hero. People who are fighting for Amazon labor unions, like that's the fight of the 21st century. And just right off the bat, that's the first line. That's Mach-Hommy's first line has got you going that far. I'm going to turn this over there. I think that's a little bit unpleasant, the reflection over there. I'm just going to move over. So I don't edit my videos. So you're just going to have to hang out with me while I fix the camera. And by camera, I mean iPhone. So he's doing this rhyming over the beat, just like, and the thing is, like, I don't know everything he says. I try to follow it. Ish is following. It's libation. So he talks about like liquid being libation. Consider this Hove with Live Nation out of the picture. So, Live Nation like has the 360 contract for Jay-Z, who's also called Hove. So, the independence of Jay-Z is gone because he owes so much to Live Nation. So he's both praising Jay-Z while also commenting on Jay-Z's lack of freedom. And then later it's duck season and you're all green as goose-ish. I do ish. I be in Italy too literally to see the boot kick. It's like literally Italy looks like a boot, and so he's actually there. And then Duck Season, which is his previous album with Mach-Hommy, with the god Fahim. I don't know, but there's this great flow all the way throughout this album. That's why I'm taking so long with this one song. I'm going to go a lot quicker through the rest, because it had this easy flow. So he's like talking about Jay-Z, and he's going on with Jay-Z. He talks about hitting the ball in the corner pocket, hallelujah. And then we get the god Fahim coming back. And I love this back and forth. We live in a time of guest appearances where, someone does their 16 bars and then someone else does their 16 bars, and then you play the hook again and then you all go to sleep. This is really kind of old school, just jumping on the mic, jumping on the mic, jumping on the mic. So then there's all these references to Rockefeller and Jay-Z, and I had a hard time figuring them out. Hallelujah, pockets fully blown like Rockefeller, with no trace of AIDS, we bounce back like rubbers, getting sauce money like Jigga, Primo, and Jazzo. And that didn't make any sense until I remembered on Reasonable Doubt, the Jay-Z album. There's a track produced by DJ Premier Primo featuring Sauce Money and Jazzo. Okay, but what if we go and listen to Sauce Money's lyrics? Front the roll, we back like rubbers, mother effer for real, with no trace of AIDS, we keep our pockets fully blown, Rockefeller click in So we see that this is not only referencing this song off of Reasonable Doubt, it's actually playing with it, like talking about rubbers and no trace of AIDS, pockets fully blown, like Rockefeller. So it's all kind of tied up, and it's this conversation, and it's for people who love Jay-Z. Really, this is not a diss on Jay-Z, right? But it's like for people who love what Jay-Z was and tolerate what he's become, but like miss the Reasonable Doubt Jay-Z, the volumes 1, 2, and 3 Jay-Z, maybe the pre-Blueprint Jay-Z, maybe even the pre-Blueprint 3 Jay-Z. I'm not sure which Jay-Z, the one before. By the way, he did an album with Linkin Park and R. Kelly. No one ever talks about those albums. Weird. Like this feels like it's a great callback, and like the whole album has that feeling. Fahim also makes reference to Slam On You like NBA Jam. Fun game, I used to like playing that. You get your Section 8 like public housing. Very kind of clever wordplay here. Section 8 is another word for public housing, but saying you get your Section 8 is an eaten because this is the dollar menu, this is the food thing. And then at the end, just the cool, rough drum beat rides out. The woodwinds are kind of droning, and we had this whole experience of this entire like idea of this album all in this one song. You see? It's pretty wild. A lot of stuff there. Smokin' Kiki is Lonnie. I don't know this title. Listen, I figured out a lot of the titles on this album. This one, I don't know. Tell me in the comments. Smash the like bucket. God, I'm so bad at this. Smash the like bucket. Subscribe. I'm going to talk about that JID album too. I'm busy. I've changed 11 diapers in the past 12 hours. Okay? Talk about a dump god. A dump god upstairs, okay? So I'm trying to. And then we got that Mayhem Lauren thing going. Man, hip hop is alive. So smash the like bucket, subscribe. Tell me in the comments what Smokin' Kiki means. Cool warbled beat to start off, a little bit unsettling. Fahim comes right in on the beat, right in the beginning. Some good. Listen to this one on headphones. Some nice low bass in here. A good example of kind of goofy lyricism, up in the air like a pterodactyl. Mach comes in. Again, totally incomprehensible, rapping this very hard to understand style. And then at the end, he slows down a little bit. And I want to talk about references because, Aesop Rock. I've reviewed a couple of his albums. Aesop Rock fans are never happy. Like, you cannot give that guy enough compliments. I talked about his albums very favorably, and a lot of Aesop Rock fans got really pissed that I was not more genuflecting. But anyways, I like Aesop Rock. He does interesting stuff, but there's that sense you get where he has the largest vocabulary in hip hop, and sometimes you get the sense that he's trying to like push those words in there. He's just trying to like find words to put in. I think Makami might have the wildest references in hip hop, and this feels like it. He references Peggy Guggenheim. Peggy Guggenheim. Peggy Guggenheim. I remember I was in Venice. And I was traveling with a girl who was not my girlfriend, but we were traveling in Venice. And I just cracked her up the whole time because there's a Peggy Guggenheim museum in Venice, on the canals. And just the whole time I was going, Peggy Wiggy Guggenheim. Who's a Peggy Guggenheim? It's the funniest name in the world. You're alone at home listening to this video. I'm going to allow you to say the words Peggy Guggenheim, okay? Can you say Peggy Guggenheim? good. And then referencing Janis Joplin, and then I'm going to buy you a Benz, girl. Grr. You remind me of Tammy Wynette. Tammy Wynette, the female country singer who did Stand By Your Man. And then your old Drew comes on, not to be outdone, saying that your ish looks like Peter Frampton. Comparing your girlfriend to Peter Frampton. That sounds like that's going to be the whitest reference in the history of hip-hop. But he's not done. Because later he says, by the way, this is cool. It gets kind of scary halfway through your old Droog's verse and weird. He talks about my mind, I don't lose my mind tripping like Syd Barrett. Syd Barrett was the original singer of Pink Floyd, who did so much acid that he lost his mind. Like, I'm not saying that's the whitest reference in hip-hop because, like, it's so white, but, like, most white people don't even know who Syd Barrett is. Like, most people under the age of 50. No, forget it. Most people on planet Earth, you say Syd Barrett. Like, you have to know a very specific set of things about classic rock history to pull Syd Barrett out there. But hey, it's for me, I guess. I guess it's for me, because then he makes a Larry Bird reference. As you know, I'm originally from Boston. One finger up like that green jersey 33. So that's funny because, first of all, Larry Bird was just a complete jerk, which is one of the things I like about him. You know, just trash talker jerk, you know. But also, you know, like flipping a bird, flipping Larry Bird. I just like that. He also references B-52s and Rock Lobster. And then it ends... This song ends, and this is the end of the references to Ratatouille with Chef Gusteau. I'm trying to see if Gusteau is in this. I don't think is. Oh yes, there he is. It ends with Chef Gusteau saying, "Food always comes to those who cook." So I want to just go back about this concept that this album's working with producing and consuming. You know, because we live in a world where we are all consumers and things are being basically we're being encouraged to just ever consume. Because the more we consume, the more the economy grows, etc. And so, you know, there's producers and there's consumers. And the way that this, you know, content producers and content consumers, it's right there. The way this album constantly plays with that, I think is really enjoyable. Because he's getting food, because he cooks. But the food that he's getting, like they're getting food. Like money is also food. Bread is also food. So like they're getting the food of money. It's another thing that food is. I've got to teach you about food. Close your eyes. So that was Smokin' Kiki. The next song is called Shukran Dan, which I think is like some kind of Turkish food. Opens up talking about, can I borrow the keys to the Cayenne or the Panamera? Just bad taste in luxury cars. Why would you buy like an SUV? Anyways, spread my ashes at Bergdorf, flip you over. Gentle flute, kind of cool bomb bap drums. Fahim on here makes a funny line about the bullets being bald like Caillou. Like really emphasize, like there's this way that he's just ridiculously overemphasizing his lyrics, the God Fahim, where he really does remind me of a 90s rapper from New York, who just happens to be a 2020s rapper from Atlanta. Funny line from Makami, rested like Kyrie, you know, because Kyrie Irving is often rested because he refuses to get vaccinated, so he doesn't play when they go to Toronto. Flex like Ali, I bet your commas aren't 3, restaurant on me. So I think he's talking like restaurants, you know, commas not 3, meaning you're not a millionaire, you don't need 3 commas. Restaurant on me, like he pays for the restaurant, all these cool funny things. Then also like now we're in a restaurant, which is more food, but like he has so much money that you don't have money because he's a better rapper than you and a better person than you, so he's going to buy your food, which sounds like it's a compliment, but it's not actually a compliment because you don't have the commas, you know. He's got the commas. 1, 2. Oh no, wait, 3 commas is a billion, isn't it? Silicon Valley. Next song is called Extended. This is great. This is fun, and it talks about being fun. It's a cool wah-wah guitar funk loop. Mock starts right off, and then here, like the opening tracks, like I was a little bit scared of the opening tracks off this album, even though I like them, because his style is so rough and so rushed. And the thing about Makami's style is that when it's rushed and roughed, you sort of feel like is he doing this on purpose, or is he just doing this? Like, you don't always know. I think he's always doing it on purpose, but he's got that mystery to him. So it's feasible that he's actually not doing it, that it's all there. But here, just this nice kind of, he talks about it's the fun and the fundamentals. It's really nice knowing that you're doing something well. It's kind of an upbeat song. It even takes a little bit of space with like a bow 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 in the middle. Probably my favorite verse from the god Fahim in here. And I think I know why, because he comes in second. So when he comes in second, I don't have to wait for the fireworks factory. I don't have to wait for Mach. I could just appreciate the Fahim. Next song is called Bunny Chow, which is a play on words between Chow, which means like goodbye in most languages. And it's from Italian, but it's used all over the world. And then a South African food called Bunny Chow, which is like a curry bread, like a bread with curry in it. Like Japan has a lot of good breads with curry in it. It's a thing they eat a lot, I think, in India as well, and in South Africa. Apparently, I've never had bunny chow, but it sounds quite good to me. It's just a thing. Like he's teaching us about food. All right? That's why he has all these titles. That's why he's got all the Ratatouille, because he's teaching us about food. And by food, he means good rap. What? I said that so lame. Good rap. Are you having the marijuana cigarette? Are you listening to the good rap? This sample really sounds like an Al Green sample. Like I swear I'm not sample snitching. I don't know what the sample's from. Okay? I don't know. It sounds like Al Green to me. But Al Green's dead anyways. Sadly enough. Isn't he? He is dead. Jeez. Tell me in the comments if Al Green's dead. Cool strings in the background. And he just, again, like these back-to-back songs where it's clear now that the beginning when I thought maybe, is he intentionally being this rough? He was. Because here things are much more smooth and rhythmic. I don't understand everything he's saying, but it all kind of makes sense. I hear all the words. He has this nice thing about driving the SEL. What do I need a 23 for? Like, why does he need the next model? I like that a lot. Cool singing style. He seems cool. And it seems like he's actually setting up Fahim. Again, I love hearing Fahim coming in second. Came up from the bottom. I came up from the bottom like my shoe prints, creases in my Air Force Ones. I was a nuisance. Cool, nice, funny rhymes there. Big Chico and Juju Got show up. I don't know them or where they're from. And whenever I say that, whenever I say I don't know who a guest appearance is, I get a lot of people commenting about what albums theirs I should listen to. And I always appreciate it because I like Big Chico, and Juju Got. Almost kind of like almost reminds me of like a good era Snoop Dogg way, the way they're singing Bankroll Call-In, like the kind of sing-songy nature here. Then we get to the song Macabre, 8/5. So, okay, standard kind of sample, very sort of short loop here, this guitar loop, and even hiccups. There's a time where the beat is not smooth. I don't know if that's on purpose. And this song starts off with Mach-Hommy just rapping, like just right off. So I can do a thing where I just keep hitting back to see if I can figure out what he's saying, and I can't figure it out. Like something cephalopods, which are like octopuses. Some cephalopods, Decepticons. He talks about the crowd disperse. He talks about guns in his Carhartt, which I think is a reference to Mobb Deep. Guys in my Carhartt, never gonna let it. It sounds very kind of Mobb Deepish to me. Guns in his Carhartt. Paul Blart. You said Paul Blart, Mach-Hommy. Those words came out of your mouth. I'm sitting here, I'm thinking about octopuses and Decepticons, and then now you're making me think about Paul Blart. I don't know what's going on here. Fahim comes on, but I'm just so confused. I'm still trying to place everything together. It's nice when Fahim comes on, the beat gets just reduced to a guitar when Mach comes back, and then he's talking about Boris Karloff and the Bride of Frankenstein and Paul Blart. What? Was he in New Jersey? Is that why? Is this a thing? Is Paul Blart a hip hop thing? I've seen both Paul Blart Mall Cop and Paul Blart Mall Cop 2. My neighbors down the street were just throwing away DVDs because no one likes physical media anymore besides me and Dan Merle. And so I pick up this box of DVDs, and it included Paul Blart Mall Cop. And we watched that movie. And it's okay. It's not that good. But maybe I need to rewatch it. Maybe the secret to understanding everything about Mach-Hommy is hidden within Kevin James's stupid face. Food Grade is the next song. Blaring horns, like more of an extended beat here, especially compared to the last one. Basically no drums, really far in the back. Fahim, I don't like wrinkled clothes, so I tote the iron. It's funny, they're always trying to figure out ways to talk about their iron. A very kind of chill approach from Makami here. Phony as a fling, we as genuine as puppy love. Tell me what to bring, I bring intelligence and monkey nuts. I don't know what that means. I bring intelligence and monkey nuts. I like to think that I do that too. I don't know what he means, so maybe I don't mean that. Maybe monkey nuts means something I don't want it to mean. But I like to think that what I bring to a relationship is puppy love, intelligence, and monkey nuts. It's good. You know, like, you should try to find someone in your life who will bring you intelligence and monkey nuts. A great next song, Maras Don Durmas, Rosewater. That's Turkish ice cream, Don Durmas. It's very chewy. It's like the original ice cream. I gotta tell you something. It sucks. It's not good. I got a friend in Boston who found the best place to get real Turkish ice cream. It's in Watertown. I used to live in Watertown, Massachusetts. So it's in Watertown. We go there, and the guy who works there is super nice, and he welcomes us in and says, "This is the real ice cream, my friend." And he gives us the rose water, Don Durmas, and we eat it, and we try to smile because, our friend who brought us there, we don't want to insult him, but it was not very good. But still, it's like the original ice cream. It's a different kind of food, and he's teaching us how to eat. Have you ever had Rosewater ice cream? Have you ever enjoyed a dollar menu album? Okay. This is Remy, the rapper. Why is it every time I say rapper, I sound so lame? I need to work on that. This is Remy, the rapper. More upbeat beat in two parts, nice snare, heavy drum beat. A little more textures here. It's hard because all the production sounds so good together, but there are some beats that sort of rise above others. I'd say this beat rises above the others, although none of them are bad. I am annoyed. This is the only time on the album where I don't like something. I Made It Out the Village is something that God Fahim says a couple times, and I just don't like the way he says I made it out the village. I just don't like the way he says it. And then Mach comes in, and it's great. It's awesome. The beat changes, this weird warp-up sounds. I don't know who produced this one, but whoever they are, they did a great job. I hope they get an extra piece of bread before they have to produce their next beat in the basement chained to a radiator. And then it comes back in again with out of the village. The album ends with 4 piece is, I don't know, I guess this is about probably chicken, a 4-piece chicken meal, dollar menu, kind of in this fast food area. Great beat here as well, muted bass line, piano creeps up, kind of the beat breaks and the drums move a little bit forward. I don't know what Mach's talking about. I grew up in the titty. I don't know. How do you grow up in a titty? $1,000 in the kitty? That makes sense. He's saying he has $1 million. Again, I understand the words, but not the meaning. But what I like about this song is that it fades out and you think it's done. But then the drums come back stronger, boom bap drums. Mach comes back, and it becomes a hidden posse track at the end of the album. And another reference to Spit Hot Fire Like Dylon. This is 2 times in 1 week. Okay, so this is the deal. Dave Chappelle had a sketch making fun of the TV show Making the Band, featuring Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Sean Combs. And he did a hilarious impersonation of Puff Daddy. He also imitated one of the rappers that was on the original TV show. You can watch the Dave Chappelle sketch, and I did this today while I was at the pediatrician, waiting to bring my daughter in, sitting out in the car, waiting for her to wake up from a nap. I was watching the actual Making the Band on YouTube. And Dylon is hilarious. He really is as funny as he is in the Dave Chappelle thing. So it's funny because the actual guy himself is just he's just so tone deaf. He doesn't understand, he shouldn't be trying to he basically, Wyclef Jean is begging with him to just be better at like trying to integrate reggae into hip hop. It's just very funny. But the line from Dave Chappelle is "I spit hot fire." So that's funny because Rock Marcy also brought up Dylon in Elephant Man's Bones. So that's 2 in 1 week. Flip You Like Meek Mill. I saw on Macame's Reddit a thing of Meek Mill doing a flip. I guess that's where that comes from. And then your old Drew comes in, no clout for you. I'm the clout Nazi. Very funny. Seinfeld joke. And just Mach just seems like easy, like almost breathless, like laid back. And then Fahim comes on and he's kind of breathless and laid back. And the horns are whining in the back and it's an awesome ending. Just super chill, super wonderful. You get the sense these guys are friends. They work together well. They know what they're doing. And this ending, it just really has this very triumphant feeling. We then get to the quote, "I haven't eaten like this in years." That is Charlton Heston saying that. He's not playing Moses. He's not playing Bright Eyes in Planet of the Apes. He's in Soylent Green. Soylent Green, the famous 70s movie where sort of a dystopian world where they figure out a magical food that allows people to eat called Soylent Green. I haven't eaten like this in years, but what is the ingredient of Soylent Green? It's made, spoiler, out of people. Soylent Green is people! So it all goes back from this Ratatouille thing to Soylent Green, all these different ways of food. They eat your milkshake. That's from a different one, right? They drink your milkshake. You are consumed. You consume them. The high, the low, the in-between, everything. Dollar Menu 4. These are my Patreons. They help me to buy music. I bought some Mach-Hommy music, which if you know anything about Mach-Hommy, it's super expensive. So I couldn't have done it without their help. I got the Banan Show. I still have yet to buy anything of Mach-Hommy's where it's with the god Fahim. I still think it's that thing of where I'm kind of like I just want more Mach, but that might change over time. Also, it's just pretty expensive. But how else am I going to learn about food? Okay, until next time, there's the camera.